Which Hollywood Studios restaurants are misleading? Which roller coaster ride seats should you avoid at all costs? And how can you guarantee VIP treatment for a price? We're telling you all the best and easiest ways to improve your next visit to this red carpet park today here on DFB Guide. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog. Hollywood Studios has a lot going for it. With those immersive lands, thrilling attractions, standing ovation-worthy live performances, but you can make sure your next trip to this park is the best one ever just by using the easy strategies we're going to be sharing with you today. And as a bonus gift for hanging out with us this morning, afternoon, or evening, or whenever you're watching, go ahead and scan the QR code you see on the screen right now, or go to disneyfoodblog.com/DisneyPlans to get our free Disney World planning worksheets made to help you keep track of when you need to make reservations, what you want to prioritize in the park, and how you're going to make the most out of your vacation, no matter how many days you're there. Pre-planning is the best way to make sure you have the best vacation, so we want to help you out with that. Okay, are you ready to dive in? Me too. Number one, prepare for menu changes. So you think Hollywood Studios restaurants stay the same year round, then you're in for major surprises the next time you're in the park because menus change all the time. We've seen price increases, special seasonal snacks come and go, new restaurants open, and restaurant menus receive complete overhauls. Now, usually complete overhauls will happen twice a year, usually around October and then in the spring, but seasonal menu changes, individual menu changes, that happens all the time. Now here at DFB, we're looking at the menus every single day. So we're noting changes for you every single week in our newsletter. So you can see those changes every week, everything that happens, every little tiny price change, ingredient change, a new seasonal option, etc. That's all in our newsletter. If you want to go ahead and join that, it's right down in the description, the link to join, and it's free. But yeah, we keep up with all those menu changes to make sure that you're as up to date as you can be. We also have it in our latest news videos on the weekends. We put several menu changes in there. We don't put them all in there because there's a lot usually, but we're definitely keeping up with it so that we can keep you up with it. Okay. Next up, don't choose the front row. All right, it's true of almost any roller coaster out there. If you want a more thrilling coaster experience, you got to sit in the back seat. That's because the coaster will feel like you're going faster thanks to the momentum of the rest of the cars in front of you. But there's another reason why we tend to pick the very back row of Slinky Dog Dash when we get the chance. And that's because the front row of this ride isn't great. The problem here is the view. You're stuck behind Slink's big ol' head and you can't see anything. So you're whipping around the track and all you get is the back of Slinky Dog's noggin, and that's not fun. If possible, ask a cast member if it's all right to not sit in the front row. They may not always be able to accommodate you because Slinky's a really popular ride and they gotta cycle guests through as quickly as possible, but it never hurts to check. All right, this next one we haven't talked about on the channel for a while, and I really wanted to bring it back up. Don't be embarrassed to use the chicken exit. Okay, Hollywood Studios is the Disney World park with the most intense rides. Not saying they're like major coasters or anything, but they do bring more of a thrill factor. So even if you or someone in your group thinks they'd like to try one of these rides, but at the last second decides maybe not, here's the good news. Cast members can't and won't force you to go on a ride. They might encourage you, but they won't force you. If you decide for whatever reason that you don't want to ride something, let a cast member know and they'll help you escape the line. Sometimes that means just backtracking through the lightning lane path, but most of the time there are designated chicken exits, much like you'll find over at Tower of Terror, because the word terror is not a part of its name for nothing. Now, don't freak out over the chicken exit here because it'll still take you on an elevator to get you back down to the bottom floor, but this elevator will take you down nice and easy instead of dropping you faster than the speed of gravity. Another good opportunity to use those chicken exits is maybe if you can't ride. If you are pregnant or you have another health concern that doesn't allow you to ride, then you can at least go through the line with your family and then take that chicken exit right before they get on the ride. So you spend that time with them. Now, how do you get the best seats in the house for Hollywood Studios' most popular show? In order to get some of the best seats for Hollywood Studios' Fantasmic, you're going to want to get in line early before the amphitheater opens up. However, if you don't want to have to worry about cutting your day in the park short just to queue up for Fantasmic for an hour and a half, you can always have a seat pre-saved for you for a price. The Fantasmic dining package offers a meal at participating restaurants in Hollywood studios and reserved seating for one of the showings of the popular nighttime spectacular. Prices vary depending on which restaurant you choose, and participating restaurants often include 50s Primetime Cafe, Mama Melrose Ristorante Italiano, Hollywood and Vine, Sci-Fi Dine-In Theater Restaurant, and the Hollywood Brown Derby. To book a dining package in advance, head to the Disney World website or call for reservations at 407-WDW-DINE. Just look for Fantasmic Dining Package. All right, are you ready for our bathroom content? Because you know, in all these videos, we're going to tell you where the best bathrooms are. Whether you're looking for a top-tier restroom Imagineering or just a private place to do your business, there are some of our favorite bathrooms to make a beeline for inside Hollywood studios. First one, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge Refreshers. Yes, they're called Refreshers in Galaxy's Edge. You won't find any restrooms, you'll find refreshers, and that name implies how quickly you can visit and leave to enjoy the rest of the Black Spire outpost. While they may not be fancy, we're in the Outer Rim after all. The Star Wars Galaxy's Edge restrooms are centrally located throughout the area, so you don't have to go search for one or leave Batuu to find a place. Next up is the Hollywood Brown Derby restrooms. Although we're usually heading to the Brown Derby for a Cobb salad or a grapefruit cake, there's also a very nice restroom off to the side of the entrance. It uses a lot of the 1930s theming of the restaurant with that Art Deco tile going on. It's usually super clean, so you kind of feel like a Hollywood star when you visit. Now, we gotta mention the Toy Story Land restroom. So Toy Story Land happens to have one of the most vibrant and colorful bathrooms in all of Disney World, go figure. The outside has a super fun theme with building blocks and Scrabble pieces that construct the restrooms themselves. There's even a cooties game box to the side to signal that you need to wash the cooties off your hands once you're done taking care of business, which is way too cute. And it's not just what's on the outside, but what's on the inside that counts too. Inside these restrooms are just as colorful. It's almost like you've walked into a kaleidoscope with all the primary colors used on the stalls, not to mention the black and red tiles too, which are a nod to the classic game of checkers. And right outside the front gate. These restrooms aren't overly themed or anything, but nobody knows they're there. You kind of leave the front gate, you turn to your right and keep walking down, and past guest services, there's a restroom there. And they're always super empty, like nobody's ever in there. There's plenty of stalls. Again, you're often all by yourself, so these are legit the best stop on your way in and out of the park. Next on our list of tips, find those indoor escapes. Now don't forget, you're in Orlando, so more than likely it's going to get hot by the middle of the day. So here are some good Hollywood Studios locations to get out of the sun and into the AC. First, Star Wars Launch Bay. This is inside Animation Courtyard. It doesn't look like much. A lot of people don't even know it's there, but it's actually one of the best hidden spots to escape in Hollywood Studios. It's open daily from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and inside you'll find air conditioning as well as Star Wars memorabilia, costumes, models, props, and several other very cool things to look at while you bask in peace and quiet. Usually there's not too many people in there. This is how Animation Courtyard has always been, honestly, even before it became Star Wars Launch Bay. You can also meet some characters in there as well. Next up, Walt Disney Presents. Now this is home to one-of-a-kind photos, models, sketches, costumes, and more, documenting Walt Disney's journey from birth to Disney World. It's not only an interesting gallery for fans of Disney history, but it also tends to be low-key and not super crowded. And yes, it's very air conditioned in there too. And Pizza Rizzo. Okay, hear me out. I know we're often pretty hard on Pizza Rizzo on this channel because those puffy pizzas just ain't it, but the quick service building itself can be an excellent spot to get some rest and take a break from crowds, especially on the second floor, where you can sit outside on the covered balcony for some fresh air or head inside to the wedding banquet room for some much needed air conditioning. So grab yourself a dessert, head on upstairs, and just relax a little bit. The next one is a really secret tip that not a lot of people are aware of. So over at Baseline Tap House on Grand Avenue, you can order the non-alcoholic Barrelito Strawberry Hibiscus Soda, which is on tap, along with several beers. Now, in case you're curious, this is a nice, refreshing beverage with fun and fizzy carbonation, plus a great strawberry flavor that doesn't taste too artificial. But that's not why I'm telling you about it. Since it's on tap, the Strawberry Hibiscus Soda is refillable. As long as you bring your empty cup back to the bartender, you can refill this specialty beverage as much as you'd like. Now here's the tip a lot of you are waiting for, how to guarantee a ride on Rise of the Resistance. So Rise of the Resistance is the most popular ride in Hollywood Studios, which is great, except that the queue lines for this ride aren't so great. If you want to make sure you get on this ride before the end of your day, as long as no technical issues arise, of course, then try one of these strategies. First up, rope drop. This isn't a strategy only you'll be using to get ahead of the 60+ minute queue, but it's still one of the best ways to shorten your wait without having to spend any extra money to make it happen. And to get an even earlier start to your day and to get in line for Rise even before the park opens up, you can always use that early theme park entry available for all Disney Resort guests on any day of the week to enter into the parks 30 minutes before rope drop takes place. By the way, rope drop, that means when the park opens. Next, individual lightning lanes. Don't mind paying to bypass the Rise of the Resistance queue? Then you can grab an individual lightning lane for it. Individual lightning lanes are separate from Disney Genie Plus lightning lanes, and they require you to pay per single ride through for the most popular rides in each of the parks. If you're staying at a Disney Resort hotel, you can purchase an individual lightning lane for Rise of the Resistance as early as 7 a.m. Prices vary depending on the day, but tend to range around $20 to $25. And if you're not staying at a Disney-owned resort hotel, you can still purchase an individual lightning lane for Rise of the Resistance, but you'll have to wait until the park opens instead of securing your spot a couple of hours before. During busier times of year, this could be the difference between getting an individual lightning lane or not getting one, since they have been known to sell out. So if you'd rather increase your chances of getting an individual lightning lane for a ride you really want to ride, then you may want to look into staying on Disney property during your next visit. And another free one, you can also stay late. Some of the shortest waits we've ever experienced for Rise of the Resistance have been right when the park was about to close. Cast members allow guests to enter the queue right up until the park closes, so even if the park closes at 10 p.m., you can still get in line at 9:55 or even 9:59. But beware, if any tech problems happen for Rise at the end of the night, the ride's liable to just call it quits and won't reopen until the next day. So when everything's working just fine and dandy, this strategy is great, but it's also a major gamble you may not want to rely on. All right, so we were just talking about individual lightning lanes. Let's talk about Genie Plus altogether. You might want to consider a Genie Plus investment. Genie Plus isn't always worth purchasing, but when it comes to Hollywood Studios, we tend to err on the side of yay rather than nay. And that's because so many of the rides here are headliner rides that rack up quite the wait times. Now, in case you don't know, Genie Plus is a skip the line strategy. It costs about $15 to $30 per day, depending on the time you're visiting. We got a whole video out now talking about the best ways to use Genie Plus around Hollywood Studios specifically, which you'll want to check out before you purchase it on the day of your visit. But if you do purchase Genie Plus, I recommend grabbing a lightning lane for Slinky Dog Dash first, especially if you've got kids in your party, since those lightning lanes tend to book up the fastest, and that's a horrible line to wait in because it's all outdoors and it's super hot and it's awful. If your group would rather skip the family coaster and hit up some of the bigger thrills first, then my next choice for you would be Tower of Terror, which has been experiencing some notoriously long lines lately. And Rock and Roller Coaster is a good one as well. Our next trick for you is to not miss out on those Ronto wraps. If getting a Ronto wrap over at Ronto Roasters is a big time must-have Disney snack for you, then you'll want to know where you can get your hands on one all day long. Intrigued? Yes. So while Ronto Roasters is usually where you're going to grab one of these savory galactic snacks, this quick service closes early, like 3 p.m. That doesn't mean you can't still have a Ronto wrap for dinner though. After Ronto Roasters closes for the day, Ronto wraps will become available over at the Docking Bay 7 quick service, also in Galaxy's Edge, for the remainder of the evening. Now, a lot of people don't know that, and they show up at Ronto Roasters at like 5 p.m. and it's closed and they can't get their Ronto wrap. That's not you though. You're just gonna go right next door to Docking Bay 7 to get yours. Now, how about a tip to make sure you get to ride whatever you want to ride as many times as you want? Okay, there are several reasons why we love staying at the Disney World hotels. They are convenient, the theming is top-notch, and depending on what hotel you're staying in, they could completely change the whole trajectory of your trip for the better. For guests staying at a deluxe resort, you'll have access to extended evening hours at select parks on certain nights. That's going to allow you to stay in the parks up to 2 hours after everyone else has to leave. And you know what that means? That's right, walk-on ride lines. Extended evening hours haven't been available over at Hollywood Studios for a hot minute, but according to the hours and events calendar on the Disney World website, they're going to be returning starting on September 30th and continuing on throughout October. Check out the Disney World online calendar before you book your deluxe resort to make sure your trip aligns with the extended hours in the park you want to go to. All right, we know you want to get to Galaxy's Edge as fast as you can to get on those rides that rack up the really big waits. There are 2 ways to get to Galaxy's Edge from the front of the park. Both will provide different pros and cons. If you're looking for the shortest path possible to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, walk all the way down to Hollywood Boulevard and turn at Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway to walk past ABC Commissary. This route is faster but can sometimes experience major bottlenecking, especially first thing in the morning. If your goal is to avoid crowds, try turning left once you hit Echo Lake before the Chinese Theater and walk past 50's Primetime Cafe and Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular to get over to Batuu without the claustrophobia. It's a longer path, but it's usually not as crowded. Now, there is another way to get to Galaxy's Edge. This one might be the right choice if you want to ride Smuggler's Run first, or if you want to hit that milk stand real quick, and that's heading over towards Toy Story Land and going through Toy Story Land. There's an entrance to Galaxy's Edge there as well. Now, speaking of Galaxy's Edge, if you are headed through that Toy Story Land entrance, you're going to hit the First Order area first. So one of the coolest parts about Galaxy's Edge is all the free roaming characters, but not every character you're going to see is going to be a good guy. While we love joking around with Kylo Ren and the Stormtroopers and even the First Order kidnappers inside the Rise of the Resistance pre-show, spoiler alert, they can also be pretty intimidating for kids to see live and in person. These are the bad guys after all. Make sure to give your kids a heads up about these free roaming characters so that they aren't suddenly shocked to see them out and about inside Disney World. While these characters are vicious inside their respective movies, they're not going to do anything too sinister to get themselves kicked out of Batuu. If you don't want to interact with them, they'll take the hint, but they're always up for a little back and forth banter too. So a big selling point of 50's Primetime Cafe is both the home-cooked eats and the zany servers that become part of your family, quite literally, while you're enjoying your meal. However, another cool part about this restaurant is the select tables that actually have retro TVs playing clips of classic black and white sitcoms from back in the old days. When you check in with the host up front, you can request one of these television tables. While it's not guaranteed that a host will be able to hook you up with one, especially if you're just a party of 2 or if you're a party of like 8, but it will better your chances. Never hurts to ask, right? And you know how cool the sci-fi dine-in convertible card tables are? Well, you're not always 100% guaranteed to get one of those either. According to the Disney World website, tables and booths will be assigned to you upon arrival at the restaurant, meaning if no cars are available, you might end up over at one of the picnic tables in the back. Some folks actually prefer these tables since you can actually face other members in your group instead of staring straight forward during your whole meal. They're also easier to get in and out of, and it's easier to have a high chair here or a wheelchair. But whichever kind of table you prefer, you'll want to put in a request with the host up front to help increase your chances of getting the seating style that you want. Mobile order is one of the most useful features of the My Disney Experience app because nobody's got time to wait in quick service lines all day. But not too long ago, Disney made an update to this mobile order feature that's for some reason not being talked about very much, so let's change that. If you're having trouble deciding what to order, the new version of mobile order comes with photo galleries where you can look at pictures of the restaurant and the food. You'll simply click on the blue ring surrounding the picture next to the restaurant's name, and from there, photos are going to pop up on your screen much like an Instagram story. Now, don't forget to double check the schedule. So Fantasmic plays to the beat of its own drum. Sometimes it'll have 2 showings per night, sometimes only 1, sometimes it'll start earlier in the evening, sometimes it's 15 minutes later. The best thing you can do is to make sure you know when Fantasmic is playing during your next visit. Check the hours and events calendar on the Disney website to do this. You can also check out the My Disney Experience app the day of your visit for the most updated show schedules. And of course, our big tip, always go to the second show if you can. It's going to be the least crowded. All right, time to talk about stroller parking. Strollers are great to have on hand for your kids, but they won't be allowed inside ride queues or restaurants or several indoor attractions. Thankfully, if you can't take a stroller with you somewhere, there's always going to be stroller parking nearby. For example, you can find stroller parking right off Sunset Boulevard before you get to the Fantasmic Amphitheater. There's stroller parking right outside the Hyperion Theater where the Frozen Sing-Along celebration takes place. Inside Galaxy's Edge, stroller parking can be found to the left of Smuggler's Run. In Toy Story Land, you're going to find find stroller parking to the left of Toy Story Mania, more toward the front section of the area, but there's a bunch of other stroller parking locations too. And you can usually track these down pretty easily thanks to the sea of strollers that occupy each parking location. Now, there are even multiple places to park within each parking area, Toy Story Land and Galaxy's Edge included. If you ever have trouble finding a good place to park your stuff, reach out to a nearby cast member and they should be able to lead you in the right direction. Now, once you do park your stroller, remember, those strollers might not be where you left them when you come out of the attraction or the restaurant you're in. Sometimes cast members have to move strollers around to accommodate more strollers. So we always recommend to put something that is super visible, like high vis on your stroller, whether that's a neon bandana or handkerchief, or wrap some really bright duct tape around it or something. And that's a good way to find your stroller in the sea of other strollers that look exactly the same. Now, some people say to tie a balloon on your stroller. I disagree because you actually have to push that stroller around, and if you've ever pushed a stroller around Disney World all day with a balloon tied to it, you know what a nightmare that is, because that thing keeps hitting you in the face and everybody else in the face that you're passing by. Okay, here's how to book the most popular restaurants. There are 3 sit-down restaurants that tend to book up faster than the others in Hollywood Studios. Those are Roundup Rodeo Barbecue in Toy Story Land, Sci-Fi Dine-In at Commissary Lane, and Hollywood Brown Derby off Hollywood Boulevard. You can make advanced dining reservations up to 60 days before your Hollywood Studios visit for these restaurants. However, if you're staying at a Disney-owned hotel, you can actually make reservations 60 days out for the next 10 days of your vacation, meaning you'll be able to make reservations for your entire trip all in one day. And trust me, you're going to want to use all the advantages you can to get ahead of the ADR game and secure those highly coveted seats. So a quick example, if your trip starts on Sunday and you've hit that 60-day out mark for Sunday, but you want to make a reservation for Hollywood Brown Derby for Friday night, you can do that 60 days out from that Sunday date because you can book for 10 whole days. All right, who wants to experience a brand new holiday party in Hollywood Studios? They are feeling very merry and bright this year. They're going to be throwing an all-new after-hours holiday party called Jollywood Nights. Now, Jollywood Nights is a new, separately ticketed event like Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party that takes place from 8:30 p.m. to 12:30 a.m. on 10 nights from November 11th through December 20th, 2023. As part of the event, guests can enjoy the Jingle Bell Jingle Bam Nighttime Spectacular, try several exclusive treats, meet rare holiday dressed-up characters, party it up with special sing-along shows and soirees, and more. So if you're interested, you can grab tickets for the event right now on the Disney World website. Just keep in mind that the Jollywood tickets closest to the actual Christmas holiday are going to be the most expensive, while those listed for earlier on in the season will be about $20 cheaper per adult. So when you download the free Play Disney Parks app, you're not just going to have access to trivia games that'll help you pass the time in queue lines. You're also going to have your very own Star Wars datapad right there in the palm of your hand. Your datapad will have 4 key functions that'll enhance your Galaxy's Edge visit and make it all the more interactive. You can hack various droids and control panels and devices, make them do fun things. You can scan objects within the spaceport to find hidden items when you investigate different Batuu crates and cargo. You can translate the Arabash language, maybe inadvertently learn it yourself the more you use it, and tune into satellite transmissions to hear stories of the village residents and maybe even learn a secret or two. It's a fun thing to do when all the lines are so busy and all the restaurants are so busy and you just want to do some cool Star Wars stuff without having to wait in lines. Next tip for Hollywood Studios is find a plan B for the Skyliner. Okay, picture this. You're chilling at your Pop Century Resort. You're planning on hopping onto a Skyliner gondola soon and ride over to Hollywood Studios. Then suddenly, a serious rainstorm interrupts your plans and shuts down the Skyliner. So now what are you going to do? Well, if you're staying at a Skyliner resort and service for the Skyliner goes down, you'll usually see signs in the lobby, outside the Skyliner station, or near the bus stops that'll inform you to use bus transportation services to get over to the parks instead. The same thing will happen if you're trying to get from the park and back to your hotel again. Disney will redirect you over to the buses to make sure you're not stranded in Galaxy's Edge or anywhere else in Hollywood Studios. But this is definitely something to know about and to plan for, especially if you're going to Disney World during the summer months when you always have those afternoon rainstorms. Next advice for you, skip Fantasmic? Okay, this might not be the advice you want to hear, but it could be the advice you need to hear, especially if you're trying to track down shorter wait times for the rides without getting Genie Plus. While everyone's at the show, this is your chance to jump in line for a ride that was maybe super busy earlier on in the day. Now, we do love watching Fantasmic, and we absolutely recommend going to see it as a first-time guest, but skipping the show has also given us the opportunity to ride attractions like Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway and Rock and Roller Coaster, Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, even Toy Story Mania with very limited wait times. And again, remember, if there's 2 shows, skip the first one that everybody's going to, ride some rides, and then you go to the second one. Okay, this next tip might be the very, very, very most important tip, and that's to read the room. This is a common problem we see all the time, not just in Hollywood studios, but in all of the parks, and it happens to us all the time. Sometimes travel groups get caught up in the moment and they can't, or absolutely don't want to, deviate from their perfectly crafted park plan, even if their kids are on the verge of a full-on meltdown or one of their friends or family members has gone sheet white in the face and is trying to wish away a migraine threat. It's not easy to put your super fun day of all things Star Wars and Toy Story and old-time Hollywood on pause. But if you aren't flexible with your itinerary and don't take a timeout when someone in your party seems to be hanging on by a thread, then you risk the chance of derailing not just a few minutes of your day, but the rest of your day in the park. Even if you have a lightning lane coming up in half an hour, sometimes it's better to ditch the ride and take a break if you see someone in your group starting to wave the white flag. If you notice someone in your party is starting to get a little hangry, stop for a snack. If you find family members starting to snap at each other, find an air-conditioned building and cool off. The point is, don't be afraid to respond to your body's feelings or your family's feelings. Your perfect schedule will still be waiting for you when you're feeling refreshed again, and it's really hard to enjoy that stuff if everybody's mad at each other. Next is another one of our very, very favorite tips. Eat at the lounge. So what if I told you you could get the famous Cobb salad or lots of other super high quality famous food and drinks from the Hollywood Brown Derby without those coveted reservations? Because you totally can. The Hollywood Brown Derby Lounge is right outside the restaurant and is a great spot to sit down underneath an umbrella, grab a drink and a few tasty snacks, and people watch for a little bit. This lounge has first come, first serve availability. You can either put your name on a walk-up wait list via the My Disney Experience app, or you can head straight to the restaurant and ask about availability from there. It's a great cheat code for getting some of the best food in Hollywood studios without a reservation. Now, if given the choice, I'd choose a night ride on Slinky Dog Dash over a daytime ride any day of the week, and it's for a couple of reasons. First, wait times typically go down during the last hour of the day for Slinky Dog Dash. Everybody took their kids home, right? Second, you won't have to wait in that scorching hot outdoor line, which keeps you in the sun for quite a while before you even get into the actual covered queue area. And it's just fun to see it all lit up at night, and you'll also get to see Hollywood Studios all lit up too. There's that great view of Galaxy's Edge all lit up. It's amazing. So, Slinky Dog Dash, fun during the day, even better at night. Now, one of the coolest parts about Toy Story Mania is its adaptability. If someone in your party uses a wheelchair, there are specialty ride vehicles designed to fit most wheelchair models. Not only that, but these accessibility vehicles also come equipped with a much different and easier way to work your shooter. Instead of being triggered by a pullback string like all the other vehicles, there's a white button at the top of the shooters in the accessibility vehicles that are easy to press and keep up with the competition. May the high score win. Now we've got a tip about stickers, and we are super happy about it. No matter how old you are, there's something about receiving a little sticker from a cast member that makes you feel all warm and fuzzy inside. Who doesn't love a free souvenir? So all kinds of cast members from the parks and resorts have Disney-fied stickers on hand as a fun little way to spread some magic. Usually those stickers are of our good pal Mickey Mouse, but did you know there are some rare stickers hiding in Disney World too? The secret to potentially getting some unique stickers is to visit Disney's character attendants. Disney's Hollywood Studios cast members tend to have more and different stickers compared to cast members at other locations, so if you're on the hunt for some fun stickers, you might have the best luck at Hollywood Studios. Just keep in mind that not all character attendants may have stickers on hand, but it never hurts to ask and find out. And are you ready to score big on Toy Story Mania? If you want to rack up the big points, there are tons of little Easter eggs and ride hacks that you can use to make your score go up. But here are just a couple of our all-time faves that we don't talk about nearly as much as we should. Okay, first, break the plates. Throughout the Green Army Men Shoot Camp game, you'll notice a 2,000-point golden plate pop up on each side of the dirt mountain. Both riders need to have good aim and break the plate on their side. If you successfully break them both, the mountain in the middle will go away and a tank will appear with even more high-scoring plates. Also, aim for the bats. The last game of Toy Story Mania is broken up into a grand 3-part finale that spans across multiple screens. When you get to the second part with the mine cars, you're going to want to hit every mine car you can before it topples over the edge and down the mountain. But during your epic mine car pursuit, don't neglect the bats flying overhead. Hitting the bats will make the mine cars worth more points. Now, I don't ever hide how unimpressed I am with Sunset Ranch Market on Sunset Boulevard. It's just a strip of fast food restaurants and grab-and-go items that are mediocre and aren't all that pleasant to eat at anyways because all the seating is outdoors and it's hot. And who wants to do that? It's miserable. But despite me not being Sunset Ranch Market's #1 fan, there are 2 quick service windows out of the bunch that could be more worth your time and money than the others. The first is Hollywood Scoops. This is the place to find hand-scooped ice cream in Hollywood Studios. The menu features sundaes and ice cream cups or cones and some surprisingly over-the-top seasonal shakes. The second option is Fairfax Fare and its current assortment of savory waffle bowls, typically loaded with meats and mashed potatoes, although there is a plant-based soba noodle salad bowl that you may want to try instead. Other than those 2 options, you'll find way more exciting dining options elsewhere that'll provide more shade and maybe even some AC too. That being said, if you're just trying to get a quick and cheap bite before hopping on Rock and Roller Coaster or Tower of Terror, it's nice to have an assortment of easy options nearby. But one of my #1 tips is don't just go to the first food spot you see. Please don't do that, because in a lot of these parks, and I'm trying to think through them right now, the first food spot you see is definitely not the best food spot you're going to encounter in that park. So stay tuned here to DFB Guide, buy our book, check out our website. We have got the goods when it comes to what the best counter service and fast food places are in Disney World, so don't waste your time on Sunset Ranch Market. All right, want to know how to get the best seats for the dance party? Of course you do. The Disney Junior Dance Party is a great show to hit up with your younger group members, giving them a chance to boogie on the dance floor while their favorite Disney Junior friends pump up to party on stage. But here's the big thing you need to know about this show, grown-ups. There's very little actual seating in the theater, so you'll more than likely have to be going crisscross applesauce on the dance floor. If that's going to be hard on your legs or bum, there is limited bench seating along the back walls. But otherwise, this show isn't all that long as it is, only around 10 minutes, so you won't have to worry about standing or sitting on the floor for too terribly long. Now, you're definitely going to want to pack the items that are going to help you survive the heat. We've already talked about some of the places you can escape inside Hollywood Studios for a good old AC, but what about when you have to be standing in direct sunlight while waiting for a ride or just walking between lands? That's when you're going to need some other handy-dandy ways to help keep you standing upright, even during Orlando's hottest temperatures. If you want to fight back against the blazing Florida sun, make sure to pack these items in your park bag ahead of time. First of all, hydration packets. Getting enough water intake can be difficult while being on the go, so we recommend those electrolyte packets to get the job done. We like to mix these into our free water cups while eating lunch or dinner because they're usually a nice fruity flavor and help to ensure that we're hydrated. Next is that sunscreen. This might be a no-brainer for you, but I'm gonna up the ante here because you don't just want any old sunscreen. You want one that's gonna last. Choose that sunscreen that's not only good on sensitive skin, but also water resistant for up to 80 minutes. Even if you're not planning on swimming, we recommend choosing a water resistant one that'll hold up longer than traditional sunscreen through both sweat and rain. And those stroller fans. If you're hot, then your baby's hot too, especially all snuggled up in their stroller. Clip-on stroller fans can help keep your little ones cool for around $15 to $20. Just make sure to either pack extra batteries or get a rechargeable fan you can plug in at the end of each day, because you'll be using that bad boy pretty much all day long. Now, cooling towels are my favorite way to chase away the heat. To use these, you just soak them in water, wring them out, you give them a little flap in the air, then put the towel around your neck to draw out all the grody sweat away from your skin. It's like the anti-scarf, keeping your neck nice and cool instead of toasty. Now, these are so easy to just re-cool. Just go get a cup of ice water and pour it over. I love these. I don't have to worry about those neck fans losing their battery. You can just use the cooling towel over and over and over again. I love them. I don't know what to tell you. They're the best. All right, it's time to learn about the best Hollywood Studios snacks. So, Studios tends to be a pretty underrated park for unique and tasty snacks. But you can definitely find some satisfying diamonds in the rough here. For just a few examples, there's that toffee and coconut blondie over at Fairfax Fair, the cold brew black calf at Katsaka's Kettle, and the seasonal lunchbox tarts at Woody's Lunchbox, as well as those tachos, right? But if you're on the hunt for even more Hollywood Studios snack news and reviews and photos, you're going to want to check out our DFB Guide to Walt Disney World Dining and Snacks bundle on the dfbstore.com website. This digital bundle's got all the details you need to plan your Disney World snacking and spending. We go and we eat every single snack in every single park. We take new pictures, new reviews. All that stuff goes into our snack guides every single year, so you are not spending money on stuff you don't actually want to eat. Just make sure to type in code YouTube before you check out to save even more money on your total purchase. Now, some of our favorite character moments of all time have happened over in Hollywood Studios, out on the grassy area near the Hollywood Brown Derby restaurant. You can often find characters chilling over here. Most of the time it's either Chip and Dale or Donald and Daisy, but they're not just going to be standing around. They're usually up to something. Donald might be trimming the bushes or trying to win Daisy's heart, and Chip and Dale love themselves a good picnic, though picnics usually don't go quite according to plan with these chipmunks, and the plaid blanket usually winds up as a superhero cape or a matador bullfighting blanket or something. We even saw them carrying around pumpkins with carvings of themselves at the end of July because Chip and Dale have already switched over into Halloween mode prematurely, which is a mood. We love watching these lawn interactions happen pretty much every day at select times throughout the day, so if you're a fan of Disney characters but don't want to wait in a super long line to see them, this is a good way to see them and watch their shenanigans unfold. Alright, so while most of the rides in Disney's Hollywood Studios project pretty lengthy wait times all day long, there are 2 rides inside the park that tend to drop down, even when everything else has a 60-minute queue. And those rides are Star Tours and Alien Swirling Saucers in Toy Story Land. While these rides are still lots of fun, if you ever see them listed as a 30+ minute wait, just know that that's uncharacteristic, and you should probably just keep an eye on the My Disney Experience app to see when their waits will go down instead of hopping into their queues right that minute, because 99% of the time they will drop down toward the end of the day. That being said, Star Tours does have a pretty cool indoor queue line with the sassy droid voiced by Patrick Warburton, which makes him 10 times sassier. So even if you do have to kill time here, it's not the end of the world. Plus, it's air conditioned. There are 2 interactive souvenir building experiences that you'll need to reserve a spot for ahead of time if you want to experience them. Those are the Droid Depot and Savi's Workshop, both inside Galaxy's Edge. Reservations for these spots work the same as dining reservations. They'll open up 60 days ahead of your trip, but you won't have to pay for the experience until the day of your visit. Sometimes same-day reservations can also be made for these, which is more common for Droid Depot than it is for Savi's, but either could have last-minute availability up to 2 hours in advance. Now, at the risk of sounding like a broken record, it never hurts to check, especially if the urge to build something on Batuu becomes too tempting. If you decide to cancel your customization reservations, you'll need to do so at least 24 hours beforehand. Otherwise, you'll be charged the full experience fee minus the experience, and that's a major bummer. Alright, I'm about to give you our best Hollywood Studios fast food breakfast recommendations right now, so you can be more than ready for a speedy first meal of the day. First up, Hollywood Scoops. Now, we're not going to tell you to get ice cream. Don't worry, we're not going to tell you to get milkshakes. But if you hit up this kiosk in the morning, you'll find the Mickey Waffle Platter served with fresh blueberries, whipped cream, and syrup. Over at Ronto Roasters, it's a more adventurous Galaxy's Edge option for your brunch. The Ronto morning wrap is made with eggs, grilled pork sausage, shredded cheddar, and peppercorn sauce in a warm pita bread. This is actually my favorite version of the Ronto wrap. It's savory and unique, but may not be the preferred choice of pickier eaters. Still, I'm a pretty picky eater, and I think it's delicious. Next is Woody's Lunchbox. Over there in Toy Story Land, this is another great quick service restaurant with satisfying breakfast options that'll give you a nice dose of protein to start your day. Their breakfast bowls combine potato barrels, smoked brisket, country gravy, scrambled eggs, and a sprinkling of green onions to make for a filling yet solid morning meal. Now, by the way, potato barrels, that's Toy Story Land's version of tater tots. They're just baked and not fried. So if you're planning on purchasing a Magic Band Plus, or maybe you already have one on hand, then you're one step closer to becoming an official bounty hunter on the planet of Batuu. The Batuu Bounty Hunter game is available for all guests who have a Magic Band Plus and have downloaded the free Play Disney Parks app. When you're ready to get started, open the Play Disney Parks app and head to the bounty board located near Millennium Falcon, Smuggler's Run. Once you get to the bounty board, you'll tap your Magic Band Plus to the board to get your job assignment. And now it's bounty hunting time. As you move around Galaxy's Edge, your Magic Band Plus will start flashing one of 3 colors: green, red, or purple. If it's flashing red, that means you're moving away from your target. If your Magic Band Plus flashes green, that means you're getting close to your target. And when your Magic Band Plus turns purple, that's how you know you've located your target. So it's a high-tech version of a game of hot and cold, but in space. Okay, you gotta learn how to find your lost items. And this goes for all the parks, by the way. Maybe you lost your Ray-Bans or your Loungefly bag or your iPhone. Been there, done that. If you're trying to track down Hollywood Studios Lost and Found, head to the front of the park. Lost and Found is located in the same area as guest services, to the left-hand side as soon as you enter through the park gates. If you can't find your lost item there, more than likely a cast member will have you file a missing items report so they can continue to be on the lookout for it. But you can get ahead of the game and file a report on your phone, or someone else's phone if yours has gone rogue, over at chargerback.com. After answering a quick series of questions, the Chargerback website will continue to give you regular updates on the search for your stuff. And when the cast members find it, Disney will send it to your home free of charge, even after your vacation has already wrapped up. It's an awesome, awesome service. All right, when you are in Hollywood Studios, you want to look incredible, right? Because it's Hollywood. And if you're looking for something super unique that'll have several people turning their heads as you walk by, then make sure to check out the dfbstore.com website for your next Disney bounding ensemble. We've got silly shirts, we've got shirts repping your favorite characters, we've even got some shirts that are more inside baseball for the true Disney fans out there. So if you're searching for some new outfits to freshen up your vacation style, check out our stuff today over at dfbstore.com. We love it. I hope you do too. So purchasing those Dasani water bottles around Disney World property is very pricey, but some of the most expensive water bottles you're going to find are in Galaxy's Edge. Although Batu sells the same tasting Dasani water in their side snack carts and kiosks, they're going to upcharge you just a little bit more simply because the bottle design is written in Arabic. Is it cool? Sure. And so are the little Sprites and Coca-Cola bottles shaped like detonators too. But because of the bottle styles, you will be paying more for the same water and soda just based on the look of it alone. For a free drink option around Hollywood Studios, ask for those complimentary water cups at the quick service restaurants. You can also bring your own reusable water bottle and refill it at the various refill spots stationed around the park as well. Just look out for Dianogas. So one thing it might definitely do when you're in Hollywood Studios is rain. It rains in Disney World almost every day, especially in the summer. So here are a few activities you can still do inside the studios even when it's raining out. You can shop around the gift shops lining Hollywood Boulevard, watch an indoor show like Muppet Vision 3D or Lightning McQueen Racing Academy. I know you forgot about that one, didn't you? Get in line for an indoor ride with an indoor queue like Star Tours or Rock and Roller Coaster, or grab something to munch on at an indoor quick service like Backlot Express or ABC Commissary. Honestly, there's still a ton you can accomplish even while it's storming in the park, just as long as it's not one of those outdoor rides or shows. So make sure you got your poncho and umbrellas at the ready so you can keep on keeping on despite the storm. And don't forget, once the storm is over, you can be the first one in line for Slinky Dog Dash because everybody will have gotten out of line at that point. Now, let's talk about park hopping the right way. If you're planning on park hopping to hit up 2 parks in one day, the best park you can hop on over to from Hollywood Studios is Epcot. Thanks to the Skyliner system, that'll get you from the studio's front gates and over to Epcot's International Gateway within minutes. While hopping over to Magic Kingdom or Animal Kingdom isn't impossible by any means, you will have to wait for a bus to take you over to either one of those locations. So while a Skyliner trip to Epcot would only take you 10 to 15 minutes, a bus ride to Magic Kingdom or Animal Kingdom, including the bus stop wait times, could be double or triple that, eating up a good chunk of time out of your day. Next on our list goes for all the parks too, prevent the CHAFE. All right, while it may not be the most glamorous of topics to talk about, chafing while you're at the parks isn't just a you problem, it's a lot of us problem. So you're not alone on this struggle bus, but that doesn't mean it's any less uncomfortable. That's why we always carry an anti-chafing stick with us in our park bags. I bring it everywhere. I even bring it to the beach and I bring it to the water park. I take it everywhere. Many anti-chafe balms are shaped like a deodorant stick and they're applied the same way too, just on your thighs or your arms or whatever instead of your armpits. But it's not just your thighs that you're going to be able to apply this stuff to. We use anti-chafing sticks for bra straps or waistbands or shoes that blister too. Seriously, these are like the MVP of the Disney parks. Don't be ashamed or afraid. Athletes use these all the time, so even if you're not so much an athlete, you can pretend you are by using a chafing stick. All right, Oga's Cantina is a hip happening bar inside Galaxy's Edge for all sorts of intergalactic travelers, including you. But even in space, you're still going to have to follow a couple of important rules here. First and foremost, even if you think every cocktail on the menu sounds awesome, there is a 2 drink per person limit. So make sure you know which drinks you really want to try while you're here. Second, even with an advanced dining reservation, you'll only be allowed to hang out at Oga's for 45 minutes before they'll need you to give up your section to another traveler. traveler. And I know that doesn't sound like a whole lot of time, but don't worry, the cast members here are super efficient and get drinks to your section of the bar faster than you can say hyperspeed. All you really need here is 45 minutes. Now, prepare for some uncomfortable seating. As much fun as Fantasmic is, the bleacher seating is something I could definitely live without. Not that I don't understand why it's there. It helps to get a lot of guests into the outdoor amphitheater as possible, but that doesn't make the metal seats any more comfortable. When it's cooler out, which yes, does happen on occasion in Florida, those bleachers get rather chilly, especially if you're wearing shorts. So you might want to bring a blanket to put over the seat before you sit down, or a towel, which I like to use after a rainy evening when the sun didn't get a chance to completely dry the bleachers off before the show. Or if you have a sensitive tailbone, you may also want to consider bringing a pillow or a cushion that can easily be stowed away in your park backpack. They have a lot of them that can just be inflated, so those are super easy. And of course, we're going to talk first aid. You know how earlier I was talking about where guest services and Lost and Found are inside Hollywood Studios up toward the front of the park? Yep, that's where you're going to find first aid services too, and the baby care center as well. It's a catch-all up front there, I'm telling you. Whether you need something for a headache, a sunburn, or heartburn, you can swing by first aid for sample sizes of all kinds of common medication, and it's completely free. This is a hot tip for anyone who doesn't want to pay for overpriced Tylenol at a resort gift shop. But we are strictly talking about basic antacids, pain relievers, nausea medications, other over-the-counter staples here, and you're not going to get a whole bottle of it, you're going to get one. For more specialized meds like daily allergy medication or stronger antacids, you're going to be directed to a gift shop. Another great thing about the first aid locations is that they can store your personally prescribed medications for you if they need to be refrigerated. That way you can bring them into the park, take them at the time you need to, and not have to worry about them getting ruined by the Florida heat. Now, this is one that could really help save your sanity throughout the whole Hollywood Studios day. Let's say you've got a little one with you that isn't tall enough to ride Rock and Roller Coaster or Tower of Terror. This is when rider swap comes into play. I know we talk about it all the time, but it's super useful. Just visit a cast member outside of the attraction and explain you'd like to use rider swap so that everyone in your party who does want to ride can ride, instead of one person having to be singled out to hang back. Once a cast member has set you up with rider swap, at least one adult will stay behind with the person not riding and be issued a return time to use after the rest of the party has ridden the attraction. After the first riders in the party are done, the adults will switch off, so the adult who was hanging back the first time will have an opportunity to ride. They'll also get to bring another rider with them just so that they don't have to ride alone if they don't want to. Now, I know we talk about getting to Hollywood Studios via Skyliner and bus quite a bit, but you can also get to this park by boat. If you're over at one of the Epcot area resorts like Disney's Boardwalk Inn or Yacht and Beach Club or Swan and Dolphin, then you can hop aboard one of their boats and make your way to either Epcot or Hollywood Studios by water. This isn't exactly the fastest way to get to either park, but it's definitely one of the most relaxing ways to get there. Now, of course, we love snacking around Hollywood Studios, but that doesn't mean we don't also prefer packing our own snacks from home sometimes if we're looking to save a buck or two. Bringing your own snacks can be a convenient way to keep your energy up during a busy day at the parks without spending an extra cent on expensive Disney snacks. Some of our favorite snacks to take with us that preserve well throughout the day are Uncrustables, those PB&J sandwiches, Goldfish crackers, mixed nuts and trail mixes, dried fruits, and Slim Jims or beef jerky. And what snacks do we avoid? Anything that's too melty, too crumbly, gets too hot and gross before we get the chance to take a bite, like string cheese or eggs or bananas. Not the best park snack companions ever. And just like that, you've hit Hollywood Studios star status with all your massive park knowledge. You feel that? It's all the wrinkles in your brain getting even more wrinkly. Now hold up, don't click off just yet. If you forgot to scan the QR code for that free Disney World planning worksheet at the start of the video, here it is for you again. Or if you don't have your phone handy, you can always open up a browser right now, head to disneyfoodblog.com/disneyplans and download them there instead. Thanks for listening, everyone, and thanks for watching. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.